Here is 10 easy mini ramp tricks part 2. If you haven't already, check out part 1 of this series that shows you 10 other easy mini ramp tricks. As you may have noticed, this isn't Vilas but Bruno from the YouTube channel Skateboard bruh. You can check out my channel for other fun skateboarding videos and first person tutorials. With that being said, let's get started with number 1, the rock and roll. Before you want to try this trick, you first want to make sure that you have your rock to fakies down. But we already covered that one in part 1 of this series. Quick side note here is that you might find yourself finding this one less scary than the rock to fakie, because with this one you're actually looking at where you're going. Also, if you want to be more detailed, this trick is actually called a backside rock and roll, but since the backside rock and roll is so common, you can just refer to it as a rock and roll. For this trick, you want to roll up the mini ramp, do a rock stall on the coping, and when you're at the point where you're about to fall back in, you want to push down on your tail and turn back in. The trick here is to already turn your shoulders while you're doing that rock stall. You can see that my upper body is already 90 degrees rotated before my lower body is. This will really make it easier and it will help you to not get a hang up. By the way, that's also part of skateboarding, falling. Falling is making progression and you shouldn't be ashamed of yourself if you do. I still fall all the time. Oh, and before you move on to the next trick, just want to say that learning tricks in a mini ramp is a lot easier when it's a bit smaller. This will help you to be confident, and if you do fall, you will less likely get serious injuries, so you can keep practicing them tricks. So, number 2, the backside feeble. In part 1 we covered the axis stall, and the backside feeble is just as easy. It even happens that you accidentally do this trick when you're trying to do an axis stall. It happens that you do your axis stall a bit careless and you don't bring your front truck all the way on the coping. That's also how this trick feels a little. So for this trick you want to come up the same way as you do for an axis stall, but when you're about to hit the coping you want to turn, but not all the way as you would for an axis stall. You want to put a lot more weight on your back truck, because that is where your balance has to be. If you don't do this enough you will slip away during your stall. When ready, press down on your tail and turn back in. Moving on to number 3, the fakie rock. This is just a switch rock to fakie and it's really neat when you're skating around in a mini ramp. When you got this trick on lock and you have it under control, it's really handy to just do it in between some more serious tricks to get things straight. For this trick you want to roll up the coping, and as soon as your back wheels are about to hit it, you want to lean a little bit more towards your nose. This way you don't bump into the coping. Bumping into the coping isn't bad because it might lead you to do another trick. It's called the fakie pop-up rock, but that's not what we're doing right now. When you stall your board on the coping and you're about to fall back in, you want to press your nose down. This feels like a tiny nose manual and it will cause you to ride away smoothly. Your timing has to be good here, otherwise you might get a hang up and that sucks. Don't get discouraged if you do get a hang up, that's just part of learning how to skate a mini ramp. Let's move on to another trick you do riding up the mini ramp, fakie. Number 4, the tail stall. This is definitely a bit more difficult than the fakie rock, but it's still a basic mini ramp trick. I really recommend learning this trick because while doing this trick you drop back in, which allows you to make a lot more speed for your next trick if you're doing a line in the mini ramp, of course. So for this trick you're riding up fakie again. You want to keep your eyes at the coping because timing is really important for this trick. When you're about to hit it, lean back and press your tail. If done correctly, you're stalling nicely in a drop-in position, and then all that's left to do is dropping back in. The timing is the most difficult part about this trick. Getting the timing right really comes with just trying this trick over and over again. Once you got this one, we're switching things up because number 5 is gonna be the nose stall. I think most people might find this one easier than the tail stall, but the trick I find even more easy is the nose stall reverse. Also that one we already covered in part 1. So for the nose stall you want to ride up the mini ramp just straight. Keep your eyes at the coping and when you're about to hit it, lean forward and press down on your nose. Especially if you're first learning this trick, it's easier to lean on your nose all the way so you can stand still on the coping and plan your switch drop in. Dropping in switch is definitely scary for the first time. Practice this first. However, the concept is the same as a regular drop-in, which is just leaning into the quarter, pressing down your board and going for it all the way. Also don't forget to keep your knees bent. Next one, number 6, the Ollie to fakie. This trick is a lot of fun because once you got your Ollies down, you can basically already do it. Your first time learning this trick is probably not going to look good, but after some practice they'll look better and better. You don't want to start out doing them above the coping, just build your way up after every try. So when trying this trick for the first time, you don't want to ride too fast. Just ride up till the middle of the quarter pipe, and just before you're about to stop, when you still have a little bit of speed left, you want to pop an ollie. Lean back into the quarter when landing and ride away. So in the beginning we had the Fakie rock, and now number 7 is gonna be the Fakie frontside rock. Before you try this trick, you want to make sure that you have your rock to fakies and Fakie rocks on point. This trick is still pretty exciting though, because we're combining a pivot 180 with a rock stall. So for this trick you want to ride up the quarter Fakie again. Also for this one you want to turn your upper body before you turn your board. So look at the coping with your rotated upper body and start rotating your lower body and board so you get that nice rock stall. This is quite a little bit before your back trucks are about to hit the coping. You then want to get back in the meanie just like you do for a rock to fakie. A common problem is that you over rotate, and to prevent that from happening you must do a movement that feels a little bit like you're unwinding your body. This is when you're about to turn onto the coping. Moving on to number 8, the backside 5-0 stall. This one is cool because if you learn this one, it will definitely feel like landing a real new trick and not like a combination on a feeble or extra stall. You really have to balance a little bit for this one, and that's why I like it. This trick also feels a little bit like a backside kick turn, and you can definitely cheat your way into this trick by doing a high backside kick turn, but I'm teaching you a 5-0 stall rather than a backside car. So for this trick you do want to ride up the quarter like you do for a backside kick turn. When you're about to hit the quarter you want to put your weight on your back truck and lean towards the coping at the same time. You don't want to rotate all the way right away. It really helps to think of it as almost going back in fakie. This way you can really stall it. But obviously you're not going back in fakie, so when you're ready, lean back in, rotate further and press down on your front foot. We have the rock and roll, that's actually a backside rock and roll. So now I also got to show you the frontside rock and roll. This trick will definitely be scary when trying for the first time, because even though it's called frontside, you have to rotate towards your back. Doing this trick you want to roll up straight again. Get that steady rock stall, and then that's the point where it gets different and a bit scary. At this point you want to lean back into the mini ramp, but also you want to have your shoulders rotated like I'm doing. This makes a huge difference, and it will definitely help you to get that pivot nicely. Press your tail down and rotate. Try not to get a hang up, and it'll also help you to look at the part of the ramp where you're about to go. On to the last one, number 10, definitely the most difficult one of them all, the frontside disaster. Boy do I love this trick. I had to include this one because it's a basic trick and it's one of my favorites. Me saying that it's a basic trick doesn't mean it isn't hard to learn, because before you're able to learn this trick you want to make sure that you have your frontside 180s down. For the frontside disaster you want to roll up the quarter pipe with quite some speed. You want to first rotate your shoulders, and when you're about to hit the coping part you want to throw in that 180. You don't have to pop them, they're perfectly doable by just launching yourself into that 180 movement. All that's left to do then is leaning back in and pressing on your nose. I love this trick so much because later on you can get so much speed and try to pop them higher and higher, and they just look so cool. Lastly, I want to say that for every single one of these tricks it takes time and practice to learn them. Don't get discouraged if you fall, because that's part of skateboarding. If you see someone else just throwing out these tricks like it's nothing, just know that they were once where you are now, and they just decided to put loads of days into practicing these tricks. Never forget that skateboarding is just so much fun. It's definitely worth falling for sometimes. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to VLSkate for more skateboarding, and also check out my channel for more skateboarding. I'm sure you'll have the link somewhere in the description. Peace out and skate on.